You think you've seen it all when it comes to the rich and their secrets, but this story will make you question everything you thought you knew about them. Imagine walking down a busy city street, surrounded by towering skyscrapers and bustling crowds. The air is crisp, and the sound of footsteps echoes around you. Suddenly, your eyes catch sight of someone familiar, a face you haven't seen in years. That's exactly what happened to Karoline Leavitt, one of the most powerful women in the fashion industry. But here's the twist. This person wasn't just anyone. It was her former nanny, the woman who helped raise her as a child. Now living on the streets, broken and forgotten, what Karoline did next shocked everyone, including herself. So let's step back in time and uncover the full story behind this unexpected encounter, because sometimes the choices we make define us more than anything else. Karoline Leavitt wasn't always the glamorous figure she is today. Growing up, she lived a modest life with her parents in a small suburban neighborhood. Her mother worked long hours as a nurse, while her father balanced two jobs to keep the family afloat. Despite their financial struggles, they managed to give Karoline everything she needed, and then some. One of those somethings was Clara Bennett, a kind-hearted woman who became not only their nanny, but also a second mother to young Karoline. Clara had been there for every milestone in Karoline's childhood. Her first steps, her first day of school, even her first heartbreak. She taught her how to bake cookies, told her bedtime stories, and always made sure she felt loved and safe. In many ways, Clara was the glue that held the household together during tough times. But life has a way of changing unexpectedly, and one day, Clara simply disappeared from their lives without so much as a goodbye. Years passed, and Karoline grew up to become a successful fashion designer, known for her bold designs and sharp business acumen. She rarely thought about her past anymore, consumed by the demands of her career and the glitz of high society. That is, until that fateful day when she stumbled upon Clara again on the cold streets of Manhattan. Karoline froze in her tracks when she saw Clara sitting on a park bench near Central Park. The once vibrant woman now looked frail, her hair streaked with gray, her clothes tattered and worn. For a moment, Karoline couldn't believe her eyes. Was this really the same person who had spent countless hours caring for her? She hesitated, unsure whether to approach or turn away. After all, years had passed, and maybe Clara didn't want anything to do with her former employers. But something deep inside urged her forward. As Karoline drew closer, Clara finally noticed her presence. At first, there was confusion in her gaze, but it quickly turned into recognition, and then shame. "Miss Karoline," Clara whispered, her voice barely audible. "I never thought I'd see you again." The two women sat down together on the bench, and Karoline listened intently as Clara shared her story. It turned out that after leaving the Leavitt household, Clara had fallen on hard times. A series of unfortunate events, a failed marriage, mounting medical bills, and losing her savings in a scam, had left her homeless. She tried reaching out to old contacts, but no one seemed to remember her or care about her plight. Hearing this broke Karoline's heart. How could someone who had given so much of herself end up like this? But instead of feeling pity, Karoline felt anger at the system, at society, and even at herself for not staying in touch. She realized that she had been so focused on building her own life that she had forgotten about the people who mattered most. As they talked, Karoline began formulating a plan. She knew she couldn't fix everything overnight, but she also knew she couldn't walk away without doing something. And that's when she made a decision that would surprise everyone, including Clara herself. Karoline stood up abruptly, her mind racing with possibilities. "Clara," she said firmly, "you're coming home with me today." Clara looked at her in disbelief. "Miss Karoline, I couldn't possibly impose." "You're not imposing," Karoline interrupted. "You raised me, you cared for me when I needed it most, and now it's my turn to take care of you." But Clara shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "I don't want your charity, Miss Karoline. I've lived my life. I don't need anything from you." That's when Karoline did something unexpected. She knelt down in front of Clara, meeting her gaze directly. "This isn't charity," she said softly. "It's family, and families look out for each other, no matter what." The crowd around them paused momentarily, curious about the emotional exchange between the two women. Some people whispered, others snapped photos, but Karoline paid them no mind. In that moment, all that mattered was reconnecting with the woman who had shaped her childhood. Without another word, Karoline helped Clara to her feet and guided her toward her car. Along the way, she called her assistant to arrange a few things: a room at her penthouse, an appointment with a doctor, and access to financial advisors who could help rebuild Clara's life. By the time they reached Karoline's apartment, Clara was overwhelmed by the kindness and generosity being shown to her. As they entered the luxurious space, Clara hesitated near the door. "This is too much, Miss Karoline," she murmured. "I can't accept this." Karoline smiled warmly. "You already have, Clara. You accepted it years ago when you chose to be there for me. Now it's my turn." And with that, Karoline handed Clara a key to the apartment. "Welcome home," she said simply. The days that followed were filled with both joy and challenges. Clara adjusted slowly to her new surroundings, finding comfort in the familiar warmth of Karoline's presence. The doctor visits revealed that while Clara's health had suffered over the years, much of it could be managed with proper care and treatment. Financial advisors worked tirelessly to recover what they could from her lost savings and set up a secure fund for her future. Meanwhile, word of Karoline's act of kindness spread like wildfire. Reporters swarmed outside her apartment building, eager to capture the story of the wealthy fashion designer who brought her former nanny back into her life. Social media exploded with praise, with hashtags like #kindness matters trending globally. People shared their own stories of forgotten heroes in their lives, inspired by Karoline's example. But despite the attention, Karoline remained grounded. For her, this wasn't about fame or recognition. It was about doing what felt right. She spent countless evenings sitting with Clara, reminiscing about old times and creating new memories. Together, they cooked meals, watched movies, and laughed until tears streamed down their faces. As weeks turned into months, Clara began to thrive once again. Her confidence returned, and she even started volunteering at local shelters, sharing her story to inspire others. She became an advocate for the homeless community, using her platform to push for change. And through it all, Karoline stood by her side, proud of the woman she had become, and the bond they had rekindled. One evening, as they sat on the balcony overlooking the city lights, Clara turned to Karoline and said, "You've given me so much more than I ever dreamed possible." Karoline smiled gently. "All I did was give you back what you gave me, a home, love, and a second chance." And in that moment, surrounded by the beauty of the night sky, both women knew their lives would never be the same again. What would you have done if you were in Karoline's shoes? Would you have walked away, or would you have reached out and offered a helping hand? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Stories like these remind us of the power of kindness and the importance of never forgetting where we came from. If you enjoyed this story, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more inspiring tales just like this one. Trust me, there are plenty more stories waiting to be told, and I promise they'll leave you wanting more. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep sharing the love. Thanks for watching.